Hey there, Planet Poke Pals, it's me, Diogen Z, and it's time for Pokemon Conquest. Today I'm going to be talking about some things I did over the summer. I know what you did last summer, and it was gardening. That's right, that may not sound like a great thing for many people. For a lot, brings into the picture pulling weeds, back-breaking labor, digging out trenches for all the seeds, and building up trellises for all the pea pods to eventually climb upon later on. But I really had an interesting time gardening this past May, and recently I've been reaping the benefits of it, and this was all in a garden out in Long Island. It was my grandfather's garden, because at the apartments I live at currently, we're not allowed to make any gardens, which is absurd, but I see why, because it's sort of a urban area, and they do not want to bring animals into that kind of situation. They don't want to attract any type of possums or anything like that, which is understandable. You know, there's rabies and people's dogs are roaming around. You don't want to bring that into the area. So out in Long Island, he's got his own land. It's really not a huge piece of land. It's less than a postage stamp, and it's less than an acre all around. But on this land, we dug it up, planted the seeds, like I said, made the trenches and trellises, and it was funny because he is a old-timey guy who does not like to throw out much. I mean, he will throw out stuff. I shouldn't say he's like a hoarder, but he's very ingenious with how he forms his items. He doesn't just go out and buy trellises. What he does is he makes things out of old hangers and old scraps that he had throughout his workshop days, and instead he just used that to make the trellis, and that successfully supported so many peas. I've gotten multiple deliveries from UPS over packages from him that are just the tip of the iceberg of that garden. Under an acre of land, he is feeding his entire block. He also sent food to me, and I mean, I've posted pictures on my Twitter before. It's probably still up there. I mean, they don't remove stuff like that. It's pretty much just a timeline. But it's an immense amount of food, so many vegetables, and all that has to be done is a daily watering. Now, something I found that really helps keep down the weeds is just tilling the soil. I didn't know this, but if you keep aerating the soil, that cuts back big time on the weeds that will take hold. For those of you people who don't know what I'm doing in college right now, not that you wouldn't need any reason to know that, but just a little side note of my history, I am training to become an environmental scientist, so more times than not, I'm always paying attention to the plants, always seeing what's going around with the local fauna and flora. And it's just amazing to me that we can make so much food on such a small amount of land. It's amazing to me that we have such a thing as world hunger. Now, I know, of course, it's not all so plentiful in the grow regions of, dry deserts or very cold areas that just are poor soil quality or even rocky soil quality. But it's amazing to me that even with the technology that we possess, we don't have gigantic towers and cities of hydroponic vegetable operations with controlled temperatures and humidity and water levels. You could be producing that amount of food that came off of a land area that's less than an acre wide all around. You can make that 10 times over all season. All season will be growing season. In the winter, because it's temperature controlled, it will be all controlled and will be always producing food. It just really baffles me that that kind of thing isn't in existence yet, and perhaps it's only because I'm somewhat of a noob, especially when it comes to the world's infrastructure, but to me it just seems like when it comes to feeding people, we should really be more on the ball, more understanding of what our food comes from. It's from the environment. It doesn't come from factories. And we've easily gained that illusion here in America because of the industrialized civilization, making food, or food-like substances rather, things that are mainly made out of corn, so accessible. But everybody could make a small patchwork garden, even plant a couple of tomatoes in pots in their homes if they don't have any land per se to grow on. And that could feed their family. And if everybody did that in the neighborhood, and there was actually, conversations with neighbors and not just devilish glances every time you walk your dog and they maybe by accidentally tiptoe on a blade of your neighbor's grass, and then they get all ornery and pissed off. Instead of that, actually having communications with your neighbors and talking to them and trading with them, so that if, hey, I'm growing squash over here, you grow carrots over there, I've got the potatoes over here, everybody's making plentiful food, and there's no need to be wasting all this failed infrastructure, in my opinion, very much patchwork petroleum work, in transporting all this fake food around that isn't doing anyone any good overall. It's just it's disabling our healthcare system, of course, and of course now you bring in healthcare into the whole thing, but it's true. People who don't eat right are not healthy, and that hurts everyone, hurts everyone's pocketbook, hurts everyone's health. And if everyone had that kind of food, because it's so easy to make on such little amounts of land, we all could be eating gourmet, we all could be growing wonderful food that's actually nutricizing us, and we would be living in a lot less carbonated area, because not so much carbon needed to transport the fake food, and it's really being reversed by all the plants that people are putting into the ground and then turning into food. So that's food for thought. I'm DioGenZ, and that was our training episode of Conquest.